I almost wasted a game jam chasing clever ideas, and then one small mechanic unlocked the whole game. Hey, I'm Martin, and last weekend I built a game on one single mechanic, dialogue trees. It was a real struggle at the start, but I ended up enjoying it a lot. This video tells the story of my journey with the game, what I made, what I've learned, and how it all works. How starting from a mechanic saved my game, how the dialogue system is actually implemented, how the goals emerged on their own, and much more. As always, this video is split into chapters if you want to jump around. Okay, let's start. Last weekend I joined Gerbob's Silly Game Jam. The jam started at 2 p.m. on Friday already, but the theme that was announced, Go to Town, just felt very vague for me, and it was very difficult for me to find some interesting game ideas. I spent the whole Friday coming up with clever game ideas that I thought would fit both the theme of the jam and also the silliness, but I was struggling and I just wasn't excited by any of them. Moreover, I was actually quite exhausted from the week and from work, so I didn't really come up with anything. I was going to sleep on Friday with nothing for the game jam, and I was feeling a little bit frustrated. Then when I woke up on Saturday, I made a crucial decision. I decided that if I'm going to spend the whole weekend making a game, I might as well make something that I want to make. For some reason, at that time, I was really curious about dialogue systems and how they are made in games. I've never really built one, so I decided to go with this single mechanic. And that, my friends, saved my whole jam experience. After I decided that I will just build a dialogue system, I glued everything back into it, like the silliness of the game jam. The characters are going to be silly. Go to town theme. Well, the player literally goes to town to meet the characters there. It all suddenly clicked together and felt really exciting. I started the project by implementing the core systems first. I created the player character and one other NPC, and then I added state machines for both of them. I added movement for the player, and then I started implementing the dialogue system. I decided to use the Godot scene trees for the dialogues because they are already trees, and then there's a simple node walker which goes through the scene tree, and that's the whole dialogue system implementation. I also wanted to add memory so that the player can actually make some choices in the game. So I added a simple Boolean flag based memory. Every character has their own local memory, and there's also one global memory for the whole game. That way characters can react to events happening globally in the game. The dialogues consist of nodes in the scene tree, and I made 4 simple node types: say, choice, conditional based on memory, and update the memory. If you're interested, I will show the dialogue system more in detail later in the video. These base systems were actually very quick to implement, and I had everything in the game by the middle of Saturday, I think, which is very unusual during a game jam. I already had a simple game and I could quickly shift into building the content for it. I want to quickly show you how the dialogue trees actually look in Godot and how the Walker script works. So here we are in the project of the game, and all the dialogues are in this dialogues folder. Let's open one, for example, Jeff. This is the whole branching dialogue tree of Jeff the Ghost. All the 4 types of nodes I mentioned previously are here. Simple say nodes like this one are just configured with who the speaker is and what's the dialogue line. This is using the localization, so Godot eventually translates this into the correct text using your selected language. Here is a condition node. Condition is always on some flag in either the local or the global memory, and the dialogue then branches based on this condition. I can use simple nodes without any script for grouping. Here is a choose node where the player is presented with choices, and the individual choices are as children of this node. Based on the choice the player makes, the walker then goes into that branch. And finally, here is a node which updates the memory. It is configured with the name of the flag and the value to set. The scripts for the nodes themselves are very easy. They only contain the data. For example, here's the say node. The choose node, I think, is completely empty because the data is the branches in the tree. The condition node only contains data about what flag and whether it is global or local. The main logic is in the Walker script. I won't go into too much detail how this works, but it essentially maintains a reference to the current state, the current node in the scene tree, and when it is asked to advance, it goes to the next node in the tree and does the logic based on the type of the node. You can see that there's a big if-else statement here that does the logic based on the type of the node. Content creation. This was the most fun I had on a game jam. I knew I wanted to create a sort of 13th, 14th century little town with silly characters. So I started by designing a simple layout for the town, basically a crossroads with a farm and a field, and of course a church with a graveyard. After I created a rough version of the town, its layout and buildings, I came up with a set of silly characters I wanted to have in the game. I knew I wanted ghosts and pigs for some reason. I also wanted a superstitious priest near the church. Then I came up with the idea of the very friendly old lady that nobody wants to talk to, the scarecrow in the field, the stupid innkeeper, and all the secondary characters. I drew all the character sprites and their animation frames and added them into the game one by one. After I added all the characters into the game, I created text files describing everything in the town, the layout of the town, important buildings and places in the town, and also all the characters and their names and personalities, one text file per character, including the player's pigeon character. Once I had that, I used AI to generate all the dialogue trees. I told the AI to reference the text files. I also told the AI generally what I wanted the characters to say and what choices the player could make, and then the AI just generated the scene trees with the dialogues. That saved me a lot of time, because I didn't have to create them manually. When I had a few dialogue trees in the game, I played it over and over and iterated on the dialogue lines and the dialogue trees and the choices and the consequences. Because I described everything in the text files, the dialogues that the AI generated already correctly referenced other characters in the town and also the important locations. Let me show you how the town is constructed inside Godot. So if I open the town scene, you can see that this is how the whole town looks. Let me just disable a few things so it is easier to see. So when I was making the town, I started by placing a few buildings and sketching the layout on paper. These are all the buildings like the church, all the houses, the inn, the barn and farmhouse. And then I placed the individual fence pieces, and as you can see, these are made out of these individual little pieces that I just chained together to form a fence. Here's how one piece looks. The ground is actually quite interesting because I wanted to experiment with this, so I can also use it later for Whisperlands. I simply used a Polygon 2D node in Godot and created this polygon directly inside the scene and just set a semi-transparent brown color for the road. And I did something similar for this graveyard patch, for the pigs right here. And then for the field, I created a polygon, but I also set a texture for it. It took me some time to figure out how to actually make the texture repeat, but once I got that, it actually looks quite nice and it was really simple, easy to set up. You might be wondering what are these huge green patches around the borders of the town. The thing is that I didn't want to place all the trees and grass and bushes in the town manually. I placed a few of them just around the important areas. But other than that, I created a very simple utility object which uses an area and randomly spawns objects inside of it. For example, here is the flowers field. So I created a polygon for the area where I want to spawn these flowers. And then there's the script called area spawner, and I just specify what kind of objects I want to spawn inside of this area and what's the density. And the script then just spawns these objects randomly inside of this polygon that I specified. I use this heavily to decorate the borders of the town, and thanks to this I didn't have to manually place all the individual grass objects. This is an amazingly useful utility that I will utilize in my other games as well. How the goals emerged. Initially, there was no goal in the game. I just wanted the player to have fun talking to the silly characters I made. But thanks to the memory system I made and the choices the player could make in the conversations, what naturally emerged is that you could get into specific outcomes based on your choices. And out of nowhere, these specific outcomes turned into achievements. I added these achievements into the game near the end of Sunday. And you know what else I added? This quick reminder for you to like the video and subscribe to my channel. But seriously, if you like the video, make sure to hit the like button so that the almighty YouTube algorithm knows. The art pipeline. This was my third game jam using the same approach to drawing sprites. So I used everything I've learned so far. Just like before, I used Procreate to draw my sprites, and I used my established style, simple shapes, wobbly outline, imperfect fills, and I also used my existing colors. Because of this, I was able to draw the sprites pretty fast, and I drew a lot of sprites for this game. The characters in the game have multiple animation frames like idle, walking, talking, the ghosts can float, and I finally found a good font matching my silly art style, and it fit in the game perfectly. I had to downscale it a little bit to match the resolution of my sprites, but it looks amazing in the game. I already made a longer video where I talk about my approach to making art and my art pipeline, so if you are interested in that, the link is down in the description. I've mentioned a lot of things and ideas in this video already. If you are curious about any of them, feel free to ask me questions in the comments. Also, I have a Discord community server where you can join and we can discuss further. Sounds and music. For sound effects, I downloaded some of them from the internet, like the step sounds, but I made most of the sound effects for the game using my own mouth. Recording the voice effects when the characters are talking was especially so much fun. For music, I opened Ableton and I was immediately overwhelmed because it's a long time since I used it last time and I didn't remember much. But after some struggling, I created a very short looping song just using drums, a simple bass and some lead harmonica instrument. I approached this similar to making art, just trying to make something short and simple rather than perfect. So I made a short loop for the main menu and it actually fit the silliness of the game really well. Key lessons I learned during this game jam. Especially for a game jam, don't try to force ideas. Instead, follow your curiosity and build whatever you actually want to build. Have fun. It's even in the description of the game jam. If you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. Start from a simple game mechanic, not a clever concept. Focus on small experiments instead of big plans. Constraints enable speed, like here the silliness, simple tools, sounds, shapes. And finally, this game jam, I really felt the compounding effect of skills and experience. I've used everything I've learned so far to make this game and it really felt powerful. Okay, that's all I wanted to share. What happens next with the game? Well, the game is finished and so is the game jam. I actually got quite good scores, even considering that I didn't really have much time to play games of others. So I really appreciate everyone who played my game and left a rating or comment. After the weekend ended, I felt a strong urge to continue working on the game. Probably because of the intensity of the weekend, and honestly I fell in love with the characters and the little town I made. But I decided to just finish it because I don't want to abandon my main project, Whisperlands. I took a break and now it's a few weeks later and I'm back to working on Whisperlands. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and if you are curious about anything, feel free to ask in the comments or join my Discord community server where we can discuss further. If you want to continue watching, YouTube thinks you'll like this video next. Bye.